It is beautiful. So many things are changing for us here, and they're changing pretty rapidly. So no matter how fabulous all this is, it's still change, right? And we all want change to happen, but none of us actually want to change, right? So I want to take a minute. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the olden days when I was first here so long ago, and we talked about change, and it's how you guys invited me here because you wanted to change, right? And I had us do this big thing where we took a big deep breath, we put our hand up like this, and we went, shift. You guys remember that? Yes. We're going to shift from the change to thinking about God. So let's do that together. Let's put our hands up, take a deep breath. You ready? Yeah. Shift. Yay! Very good. Remember, change is constant. Change is wonderful. And I am so glad to be a part of it. I'm glad that you guys have invited me here. I'm glad that I've become part of the family. I just can't even believe how crazy happy I am here. So thank you all very much. And thank you to everybody. Let's give one more round of applause for everybody who's worked so hard. I think Richard and Michael painted that whole thing in like 15 minutes. So for everyone who has been blessing us with their gifts and their talents, we are really, really grateful. So we're still actually reading Lessons in Truth, Emily Cady's basic text for unity. It was actually the first book written for unity. The Fillmores actually asked Cady to write lessons. It was done in groups of correspondence letters is what it was done. And because the school was a correspondence school in the very beginning, and she would write a lesson, they'd send it out and correspond back and forth about it, and then she'd do another lesson and send it out, and it's been put together in the books. And we've been working on that book, reading it together on Wednesday nights, and we have been having an incredible time reading this book together. It means so much more to me reading it with each and every one of you. If you haven't had the opportunity to come on Wednesday and you're available, you might want to consider doing that. And if you can't come on Wednesdays, you might still want to read the book. But I have to tell you, it brings a whole different light to it for me when I read it with you. It's amazing. And then we all have our different takes on it. We're all at different spiritual places, right? And today's lesson is actually lesson 8, which we haven't gotten to yet on Wednesdays, but it's spiritual understanding. We've been talking about it all along. The funny thing about teaching this book and talking about it on Sundays is I have to figure out every Sunday how to tell you the same thing I told you the week before, and the same thing I told you the week before that, and the week before that, because the truth never changes. And we've been talking about what is the truth that we know. Give me a truth that you absolutely know.
God is.
God is.
I am.
I am. Yay.
We are.
We are. God is our one and only true source. In recovery, they say, God is our true employer. You know how much freedom you can have if you recognize that God is your true employer? If you understand that on a spiritual level, you don't have to worry about what happens at work. You don't have to worry about it anyway, but we have a tendency to, right? So you don't have to worry about any of that, because if it's your job, it'll be your job. If you're supposed to change jobs, that'll happen too. The man or woman who signs your paycheck is not your true employer. It's God. and if you are in spiritual consciousness, and if you have the spiritual understanding of the things that are happening in your life, then what's supposed to happen will happen. You'll be at the right place at the right time. You'll have exactly what you need, even if it's just the smallest of things. I have to tell you, yesterday I was speaking to someone and she looked at me, and I've known her 30 years. She looked at me and she said, "You get some of the greatest perks," she told me. And I said, "You know, you're absolutely right. I do. I am probably," and I'm going to say this out loud, and actually really out loud, because we're live on Facebook, but I truly, honestly have come into terms with the idea that I'm probably the most prosperous person I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I bet if each and every one of you examined your life on a spiritual understanding level, you would recognize that you too are probably the most prosperous person you know as well. Prosperity comes in so many different ways, right? Family. Whether it's our family of origin, families we were brought into, or families we have chosen. I tell you, you guys are like this magnificent family of people. We have our families, and for that we are prosperous. We have our spiritual understanding. We have the ability to go throughout our lives asking for direction, receiving it. Oh, I like that sound. That was good. For that, we're very prosperous. We have our health. Now, some people say, well, no, not so much, but really, in this moment, if you're sitting here today, you had the ability to get here and be here with us. We're prosperous in our beings on every level. And I'm really, really recognizing that in my life, and I'm hoping that you guys are recognizing it in yours as well. So spiritual understanding. I'm going to read to you from Proverbs. I'm shaking it up. Let's see. Proverbs 3:13 through 18. Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding. For she is more profitable than silver, and yields better returns than gold. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to one's whole body. Above all else, I am not on the right place. Thank you. I apologize. I did it twice and it's still stuck together. I'm going to do this again because this is really important. Blessed are they who find wisdom, those who gain understanding. For she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is the tree of life to those who take hold of her. Those who hold her fast will be blessed. Amen. That is talking about spiritual understanding. When you can grab hold of spiritual understanding, you can recognize and receive the prosperity of the gifts that are already yours. When you have spiritual understanding, you can have this wonderful, prosperous life of joy and pleasantness and lovely paths through the way. I love that proverb. I thought it was just beautiful, right? So what is, let's do some metaphysical interpretation. We haven't done any of that in a while. So, the she that we're talking about, woman, signifies the intuitive perception of truth reflected into the intellect. Our intellect are our five senses, right? From the soul, our consciousness. So, she signifies the intuitive perception of truth reflected into the intellect from our soul. So it comes into our mind from our soul, and it's the truth with a capital T. Truth with a capital T is God, the absolute. That which accords with God is divine principle. That which is, has been, and ever will be. That which is eternal. The perfect expression of divine idea alive in us is the same yesterday and today and forever. Hebrews 13:8. That section in Proverbs is actually called true wealth. When it talks about true prosperity, true wealth. Spiritual understanding is what makes us prosperous. The more we spiritually understand, the more prosperous we are. So I'm just going to read you one more scripture, and then I'm going to go into our special celebration for today. Because we as a church are so incredibly prosperous. We have been gifted with 6 beautiful individuals who have decided to dedicate the next year of their life to being prayer chaplains for us. Let me read this one to you. It's Jesus was asking his disciples, he said, Jesus asked his disciples, who do the people say that I am? He's asking them. And they said, some say John the Baptist, but others say Elijah, and still some others say Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He said to them, but who do you say I am? Simon Peter answered, you are the Messiah, or the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered him, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom. Blessed are you, Simon, for flesh and blood, what he saw here, out in front of him, flesh and blood, the tangible, the touchable, this plane, is not what told him that the Christ is the Messiah. What told him that was his connection to God. His intuitive nature knows, just like your intuitive nature knows what is integral, what isn't, when you're being honest, when you're not, when you're grumpy, when you're happy. Don't let this affect that. Don't let this tell you what that is, how you should behave, what that should look like, how you should act. Connect with God. Connect with your intuition. Know that God's at the helm. Again, I'll remind you of this next week. So at this time, I would really love it if we could get our 6 new prayer chaplains to come up front. We have Sadie Hines, Nancy Burns, Dee Constant, Paula Chalfont, Rosa Flint, and Barb Russell would be here also, but she is right now at Parish Hospital. Everything is going to be okay. She said it was okay for me to let you know that, and that you can send her prayers and love. And actually, our prayer chaplains are going to make a hospital visit right after church today. That's her graduation. It's kind of interesting because Barb has taken on the position as the prayer chaplain coordinator, which is a huge job actually, and considering the fact that she's not been a prayer chaplain before, she's learning that and she's learning to be the coordinator. And they were teasing this morning that she went to great extents to give them their final exam when they come to visit her this afternoon in the church, in the hospital. So yeah. So I want to tell you a little bit about what is a prayer chaplain. A prayer chaplain is someone who's available to support others on their spiritual journey, someone who creates and holds sacred space, someone who lovingly listens and holds what is heard in the strictest of confidence, someone who prays with others. Our prayer chaplains complete 50 hours of annual training and make the commitment to serve their church community for 1 year. Prayer chaplains are trained to do 3 things only: hold spiritual space, listen, and pray. They serve as an extension of the ministry's team, making personal connections with the congregation. And not that they don't already have very personal connections with you, which is wonderful, but they'll do this by making monthly prayer calls to the church members, offering to pray with them, holding space during our services, being available after service to pray one-on-one with anyone who desires it or needs it, helping the minister with home and hospital visits, praying daily for our church leaders, the congregation, our city, our state, our nation, and all the names in our prayer box and on our prayer lists. Being a prayer chaplain is transformative soul work. It deepens their spiritual path through prayer and service. Prayer chaplains commit to this: a daily spiritual journey which is based on love, faith, prayer, and gratitude. Demonstrate an active commitment to their church's community's principles and beliefs in their own daily lives. They commit to hold a spiritual space of possibility for others and themselves, knowing and trusting that God is in charge. Commit to express the desire and ability to lovingly listen to others. Commit to having and demonstrating a genuine interest in the well-being of the congregants and other prayer chaplains. Commit and hold all that is sacred in strict confidence. Prayer chaplains put this commitment into action through service to their church community for 1 year. I have special gifts and stoles for each one of them, and Barbara's going to sing. This song is the prayer chaplain song, but it's also the song that was sung when I was ordained. So it has lots of very special meanings, and I love the fact that it turned out to be their special song too. So Barbara's going to sing that for us while I commence you all into prayer chaplainhood.